Writing a senior speech is hard. It's even harder when you can't use your own words. I began writing my own in the media center. I was immediately asked to leave, though, because I was wearing a jacket. Then I went back. 45 minutes later, I was logged in. While I was sitting there, staring at the blank computer screen, I began to think about the many things that make STA great. I thought of the all-male aspect and also the JROTC military aspect. Both of these things create this unique environment. Remember the line Mr. Westlake had said earlier in the day. After listening to one of Schmidt's weird stories, Mr. Westlake shook his head, smiled, and said, "Only at STA." These words have stuck with me all year. I often look around this place myself and say, "Only at STA." One of the most unique things I've experienced here over the last 4 years is what is known as the STA hockey language. I was first exposed to this freshman year when Cristiano and Danny and myself were on the same Bantam hockey team. They would call for passes by yelling things like, "cracking 'em out," or "beans." This same team is where things like, "you're good," "beef Wellington," or "see you there" came from. 2 years ago, this language was named sophomore talk by a group of senior hockey players who especially despised it. This sophomore talk brought new and improved lingo like sod, fruit, legit, and pints. One of the most famous is obe. This one spread so much so that this year Mr. Hoyland told our class a story about how when he got home from the grocery store, he noticed he forgot something and just instinctively said, "obe." Last year was, of course, the year of Joe. Yes, Joe Fewer. His name would be used for honestly everything. You could ask Danny, "What are you doing later?" He would respond and say, "Joe." The Joe stuff got so popular that at our junior year retreat, our entire grade chanted Joe, almost the entire time. I thought this Joe stuff was hilarious. That is until this year came around, and the Joe stuff transformed into Reim. Everyone said it, for everything. Variations were created, and eventually it got out of control. When I would walk down the hallway this fall, I would constantly hear things like, "That's Reim," R dot had, or even, "Reim had legit." It was hard to embrace, but after a while I got used to it, and by this point it has just about died out. Looking back, I can't do anything other than think, "Only at STA." Going into my junior year, I was nervous. I heard of this class called American Studies. All I heard this summer leading up to it was that this class was for the less motivated students. They were right. This class was great for me. I learned many great lessons from the instructors. I was impressed by Mr. Hoverson's vast knowledge on literally every topic. Mr. Weber taught me the importance of responsibility with his journals and open podium sessions. Mr. Robertson successfully got me interested in art for the first time in my entire life. Looking back on this unique class atmosphere, all I can say is, "Only at STA." The environment at STA is one of a kind, and I truly cannot imagine my life without the Academy. To my family, you all have been such a great help over these last 4 years. I would like to thank my mom and dad for all the opportunities they've given me, Willie for always needing rides, and my older brother CJ for setting such a great example. I would like to close with a quotation that I found from my Uncle Eric in the 1989 STA yearbook next to his picture. "Hey, you got the homework?"